Our early childhood memories often selectively bring back images from the past. But as soon as you imagine a serious dump truck, from the past only one specific image comes to mind. Here it is now. A massive red giant, red as in the Soviet Union, or red as in stunningly beautiful. Actually, its colors were completely different, but more often yellow, beige, and green. What, Mimino? They gave what they gave? They gave 26B. The orange ones, like in the movies, were sent to the north. In our case, it was beige, faded matte with time, and huge. The KrAZ, of course, is not the 26B, but the 56B, which became the logical continuation and modernization of the KrAZ-252 Dnieper, itself an improved version of the Yaroslavl truck. After all, the production of these quarry monsters was moved from the city of Yaroslavl to Kremenchug in the Ukrainian SSR. The curb weight of the dump truck is almost 11 tons, with a payload capacity of 12 tons. How about that? The body is a bucket type with rear unloading. 6 cubic meters. That's how much it can hold. Now let's lift it up and continue. The body is lifted by 2 cylinders at once. They don't rest against the platform, but against a special lever balancer system. The cylinders share a common oscillating axis. The time to lift a loaded body is 20 seconds. Lowering takes 30. Additionally, the system also features a subframe. An oil gear pump model KrAZ-256B, which is powered by a drive shaft from the power takeoff. Just the frame alone is impressive. The channels are as thick as a finger, reinforced with crossbars, with the strongest part under the body. By the way, it doesn't weigh much, 900 kilograms with clay stuck to it. It rests on axles that are no less oversized. Speaking of the rear ones, there are 2 here, combined into a bogie and attached to the frame at 2 points. This type of mounting is called a balancing suspension. There are also leaf springs and 6 torque rods here. Take note, the rear axles are not through axles. Each differential has its own drive shaft. The rear drive shaft is the longest, with an intermediate support. The drive shafts don't come out of the gearbox, but from the transfer case. You can lock the transfer case, meaning you can lock the axles, but not the differentials. Oh, and the transfer case weighs 375 kilograms. Go ahead, try to replace it. The front suspension is basically standard for all heavy-duty vehicles. Even today, again, it's monumental. And speaking of weight, the front axle is 343 kilos. There are 2 leaf springs here, with their ends in rubber mounts, and there are shock absorbers as well. But that doesn't mean they actually work. The cab hardly changed at all until the end of production. A wooden frame covered over with sheet metal. No, in Kremenchuk they tried to make it stylish, but cheap and reliable always won out. And a single wheel weighs 142 kilograms. Go ahead, try to change it. But the front wheels from the MAZO are a somewhat different design compared to the rear ones. It was the simplicity of the design that decided everything. The most complicated parts were the fenders and the hood. For the rest, just cut, bend, and nail it together. There wasn't even supposed to be a panoramic windshield. Although, why would you need one? The cabin heater blows air onto these vent windows. There's even air conditioning here. And where did these trucks work? On construction sites and in quarries. And as you drive, filled with a burning passion, the dust of Russian soil bestows a blessing upon you for your future acts of heroism. Painted metal and wood. Isn't that considered a true luxury in the eyes of those from distant foreign lands? A scattering of instruments. Now that's a fitting phrase. They just scattered them here across the universe. This is a bulletin board for the vehicle's problems, or maybe they are not problems. Little hooks. For a hammock like in the 66 so you could hang yourself here? Well, I mean lie down and rest. The ceiling is made of cardboard. And here, by the way, right here is an empty spot for an onboard computer. Touchscreen, fuel consumption in general, everything is there, but naturally it has not remained the same over the year. The only thing left is the pizza call button. What else is new here? There is also some extra storage space right under the seat for your luggage, just like you would find in many domestic cars. Well, what more can I really say about that? Zargut Valdemar! But there is more than enough space in the cabin. And also, oh miracle, the driver's seat has adjustments, and you can even adjust it by weight. But it's not a fact that it actually works. It's sadder for the passengers. They just have a soft bench for two behinds. As for comfort features, there is nothing else here. Phew, and the demon engine. You really just have to experience it for yourself. But before you do, there is something you first need to climb up. You could make 6 Jagulis out of this hood. Yamsey 238. A massive 15-liter engine. Features a V-shaped design with 8 powerful cylinders. Power, 240 horsepower at 2,100 revolutions per minute. Maximum torque is 883 newton meters at 1,500 revolutions per minute. Cylinder diameter is 140 millimeter. Piston stroke is 130. Compression ratio is 16.5. This engine is a legend. It was installed on MAZ trucks, Urals, tractors, Kirovets, and CHTZ. Don and Polsey combines, and even on riverboats. A few more numbers. Cooling system, 48 liters. It's designed poorly because the drain valve is in an inconvenient position. And when you drain the water, it doesn't drain completely. Sometimes it freezes up there in the cold. That's why in winter, you had to carefully pour boiling hot water over the engine until warm water started coming out. Although that's what everyone else in the area did as well. And yes, the engine weighs a massive 800 kilograms. Here, music from the movie The Professional is playing. You think bringing an old KrAZ back to life is hard? Difficult? No, it's a piece of cake. By the way, the kill switch. It's also the manual throttle. That's it. Now we wait for the air to build up. And for this light to go out. It's unmistakable. The revived KrAZ. It really comes to life, choking everything nearby that breathes oxygen. How to describe its first few meters of movement? You can't. There just aren't words for it. You just have to watch and remember it. one was collaboratively designed with MES. And by the final production cycles, 75% of the integrated parts were unified. For example, the power steering here is from Mazet, and if it fails, turning the wheel will be a completely impossible task. The 256B1 has an improved braking system. It's dual circuit and quite reliable. The first circuit is responsible for the front and middle wheels, the second for the rear ones. There's also a handbrake, just in case. The gearbox has 5 speeds and the gears are scattered as if they're on different continents. The algorithm is simple. Here's the chart. 3rd, 2nd, 5th, forward. 1st, 3rd, and then the 4th, all backward. And just when you finally think you've fully mastered this shifting pattern, suddenly, bam, you get this. And I won't be shifting them. And you can't manage to get it into gear. There's a Soviet life hack for that. You engage every gear through 5th. The steering wheel is huge. It's not easy. The car doesn't really like going in a straight line. It wanders, drifts off somewhere on its own, so you have to constantly correct it. Maybe it was different when they were new, but when was that? And you don't really need a perfectly smooth road for the KrAZ. It shakes the same everywhere, and there's always that sound accompaniment. The quality of the road surface doesn't matter. A KrAZ driver should be deaf, strong, and not need to know anything at all, like the traffic regulations of the road. Just let everyone around you be afraid of you. For example, I can't see anything in front of the hood or under the fenders. Then if I want to make a U-turn 13 meters, that's the turning radius. If I want to accelerate to 100, I can't. Up to 50! Believe it or not, it takes 32 minutes. I'm not joking, 32 minutes. So reaching the maximum speed of 65 kilometers per hour is just absolutely and completely impossible. Fuel consumption is 40 liters per 100 kilometers. So what, is that normal too? Our nation is, and will always be the wealthiest country in the world. The off-road capability was pretty good for this type of vehicle. The front track is wider than the rear, ground clearance is 290 millimeters. But a loaded KrAZ didn't always like to turn on a muddy road. The engine was powerful enough, and with the wheels turned, it would just go straight, so you had to be careful with it. Did you know that KrAZ trucks were sold in England? They really loved our vehicles over there. And KrAZ trucks even took part in the construction of the Channel Tunnel, just so you know. But there were just 2 caveats. The first one, KrAZ trucks were sold under the name KrAZ. That brand was already well promoted and well known. And the second caveat, dealers upgraded the cabins. They improved the sound insulation. Because for the English folks at the time, you see, was just too much as it was. It was just, well, orthodox. Whoops. Hold on a second. Did I actually get it into gear or not? Let's try again. 5th, 2nd. Damn it, this thing is stubborn. 5th, 2nd. All right, let's go. If you honestly think that people just simply work on a heavy-duty KrAZ truck, then you are very much mistaken. On a KrAZ, people don't just show up. They earn their living through sweat and blood while constantly fighting for their very survival every single day. If you were to place a modern driver today into the cab of a KrAZ, how long would he last? Maybe a full day at the very best if he's exceptionally well trained. I honestly couldn't even last that long myself, and I've only been driving for about 10 minutes. That is definitely it for me. I really need to hit the gym. I'll get home and go to the gym for a beer. And despite the ruggedness of the machinery, its masculinity, and its mercilessness towards everyone, especially the drivers, the vehicles from the Kremenchuk automobile plant were very reliable, and their quality kept improving. By the end of its production years, the mileage before a major overhaul reached 168,000 kilometers. The old Warrior retired in 1994. I know that KrAZ trucks don't just die off. There are places where they are still selflessly fighting to this day, battling against time, against immense hardships, alongside their dedicated owners, showing what genuine, lasting quality is, true Soviet quality, even if it's rough. The hunt continues.